Hello everybody. So it's been a really long time since I've made any type of video. I'm actually going to make this one with my cell phone because I'm currently at work, but have been seeing something that I really wanted to comment on my YouTube. So if you've been living under a rock or just don't use social media in general, there has been this boy, Ahmed, who was arrested for bringing a homemade clock to school. Now, he was not only arrested, but he was interrogated as a minor with no lawyer or parents present, was brought to jail, and basically just dehumanized in general. So there's some confusion about this, and one of the biggest problems I have with conspiracies and just critical thinking in media in general is that once groupthink or hive mind happens, people just kind of blindly follow it. And there's some things that I've seen about this situation that make me a little curious about it. Now, first of all, let me reiterate that there is no excuse for the way they treated this 14-year-old boy. The interrogations without any parents present, no lawyer present, that just is blatantly breaking the law, flat out. And it was very extreme the way they handled it altogether. However, I'm seeing a lot of people doing the hashtag I stand with Ahmed on social media, and it seems like they haven't really looked fully into this situation. First of all, the clock that Ahmed brought, I'll link to it below so you can see what it looks like. It doesn't look like an analog clock. A lot of people are posting pictures of them at work with, regular analog clocks, just saying, oh, I brought a clock to work, you better arrest me. But the clock that he brought was not an analog clock. It was a digital clock inside of, I think it was a pencil case. You can see it again in the picture below. Now, when it comes to something like this, number one, these kids are growing up in kind of a post-Columbine era. They know that schools are hypersensitive about any type of weapon or anything like that. So and it's very clear that this boy is incredibly smart because not only did he build this, but he's invented many of his own things, such as a energy system that runs off of magnets that he's waiting to get patent. So he is a very bright kid. He's a great kid. But in my mind, he had to at least double guess bringing that into school with him, because as someone who works closely with electronics, I have that esoteric knowledge and I understand what a clock looks like compared to a bomb. But it's pretty clear that a lot of ninth grade teachers are not going to know the difference between that kind of clock in a case like that and say like a suitcase bomb or a movie bomb, as they called it. Again, let me just say one more time that there is no reason that they should have taken it as far as they did. But I do think that it's really important to still use critical thinking and try to look at this objectively without bias. So on top of that clock looking very questionable to begin with, I think it's very important for us to wait and see what the conversation between him and his teacher was, the way he presented it, because it could have gone a couple of different ways. It could have been that he presented it in a way where there was a lot of miscommunication and the teacher just was kind of cautious about it. So she mentioned it and then the school took over and just completely was abhorred to this child. Or it could have been that the teacher was incredibly racist and Ahmed came to her and showed it to her, explained it to her, and she still decided to go up in arms about it because he's a Muslim boy. I guess we don't really know because we weren't there, and it's going to be really hard to substantiate what exactly happened, again, because we weren't there and there's no record of it. So moving forward now, I've seen Ahmed now speak out a couple of different times. The most recent one I saw was a press conference of him in his yard, because the media now has been staking out his yard. So there were some things that stood out to me with that. For instance, within the first, maybe 20 or 30 seconds, he says, and just kind of out of the blue, I would really like to go to... So in the first 20 or 30 seconds or whatnot, he states, I would like to go to MIT and this other school. I can't remember which one he said. But I just found that a little odd because it was really out of place and it didn't really seem like it had to do had anything to do at all with that situation at his school. It more seemed like he was kind of reaching out and saying, hey, what do you guys have to offer for me? Like, here I am. I obviously can make clocks and stuff. And I'm, again, not saying he's a bad kid. I'm just saying that it seemed really disingenuous when that happened right off the bat in the speech, where no one had asked him about it. It wasn't relevant to the situation. It just kind of came out of nowhere. Second of all, his father is a politician, and he's a really progressive politician. He is, standing up for gay marriage and all kinds of great rights in Sudan. And he ran for presidency in Sudan as well. So when I see the media sitting on his lawn, we then see him being very charismatic with the media, more than welcoming to them, not at all irritated that they're sitting on his lawn, buying them pizza, bringing them pizza out. And again, he could be just very genuine and very nice people, but added up with everything else, it seems a little bit odd to me. So then the last thing is that, I'm trying to think of what the other, during his speech, you can see his mother is standing behind him, whispering in his ear what he should say. And I get that it's probably overwhelming. I've never been in that situation, so I can't say how I deal with it. And he is really young still, but we have to remember that this child is smart enough to create a homemade digital clock and an energy system made out of magnets that he's waiting to patent. So I find it hard to believe that he wouldn't be able, because most of the questions too were not very complicated. They were just kind of asking for his account of the situation. So it should have just kind of been firsthand response of, this is what happened, this is how I've experienced it, and things like that. But like I said, you do see the whole time his mother is kind of whispering in his ear and telling him what to say. So the bottom line is this. When a situation like this happens, whether the groupthink or hive mind is going towards your opinion or not, you still should research what you're looking into, because a lot of the things that I'm seeing in some ways indicate that maybe they knew there was going to be a negative response and maybe they could get some kind of benefit from it. Again, not saying they're bad people. I'm not saying that the school dealt with it correctly, because I hate the way the school dealt with it. But I think it's really important for us not to just be blinded by the fact that he is Muslim and to actually still look into this. So if anyone else has any thoughts, I would be really interested to hear. But the fact that they are all so bright, him and his parents are all so bright, and he brought this to school, something that looks very similar to a bomb to most people, I can't in my mind rightfully justify that they didn't on some level think that there might be some kind of negative recourse. So again, if you have any opinions, I'd be happy to hear them. I'm always open and changing my ideas based on what I see. So give me a heads up. And if you disagree, I understand that as well. Tell me why. And I guess I will talk to you guys again later.